I greet all of you who inspire me with your comments to continue producing videos. Today I am going to talk to you about the herpes virus, its types and the main diseases caused by the herpes simplex virus. In the video description I leave you with a link to a herpes treatment that is proven to be very effective. What is herpes simplex virus, HSV? The cause of the viral infection known as herpes belongs to a large family of deoxyribonucleic viruses called Herpesviridae. This family of viruses causes disease in both animals and humans, with all members of the group being known as Herpesviruses. The name for this family of viruses is derived from a Greek word, herpein, which means to creep. This name was given in reference to the way the herpes virus causes latent, recurring infections. Types of herpes virus. As you have already learned, there are two main types of herpes simplex virus. They are known as HSV1 and HSV2. These viruses are also known by the names HHV1 and HHV2 as an abbreviation for human herpes virus 1 and human herpes virus 2. It is important to make this distinction because herpes simplex virus can infect animals as well as humans. Again, HHV1 is the causative agent for herpes-related cold sores, while HHV2 is responsible for genital herpes. Both of these viruses are highly abundant and highly communicable, being spread as a result of the virus reproducing and shedding by the infected body. Herpes can also be transmitted through the exchange of bodily fluids including saliva and blood. From the conventional medicine point of view, there are 8 different types of herpes viruses that are known to infect humans and can be transmitted in various ways. These include the following. 1. HSV1, transmitted by close oral contact with an infected person. 2. HSV2, transmitted through close oral contact or penetrative sexual intercourse with an infected person. 3. Varicella zoster virus, transmitted through contact and airborne particles exhaled from an infected person. 4. Epstein-Barr virus, transmitted through saliva of an infected person. 5. Cytomegalovirus, transmitted through physical contact, sexual intercourse, organ transplantation, and blood transfusion. 6. Herpes lymphotropic virus, transmitted through contact with an infected person or through airborne droplets. 7. Human herpes virus 7, method of transmission is not clearly defined. 8. Kaposi's sarcoma-associated herpes virus, also known as HHV8, transmitted through bodily fluids like blood, saliva, and semen. Not only does the herpes virus come in many forms, but it is known for producing infections that last a lifetime. The main method through which the herpes virus accomplishes this is called immune evasion. The virus actually avoids detection by the human immune system, enabling it to survive for long periods. One method of immune evasion that the herpes virus uses is by encoding specific proteins that mimic a protein called interleukin, which is found naturally in the human body. Another method the herpes virus is able to avoid detection is through the downward regulation of major histocompatibility complex 2, MHC2, in infected cells. This can occur in several different ways, but it all leads to the same result of MHC being absent from the surface of the infected cell. If the MHC cannot reach the cell surface, it cannot activate a T cell response. T cells, or lymphocytes, are the active cells of the immune system that work to identify and destroy harmful pathogens. If the T cells are not activated, the herpes virus will continue to spread at will. Herpes virus in animals. There are over 115 different species of herpes viruses that have been identified and studied in humans, but herpes viruses act a little differently in animals. The most common form of herpes virus known to affect animals belong to the alpha Herpesviridae subfamily, and one of the most common forms is pseudorabies virus, or PRV. Scientific research on PRV has led to significant developments in animal disease control through the use of genetically modified vaccines. In fact, PRV is currently being studied as a model for the production of numerous vaccines. Signs and symptoms of herpes. Now that you understand a little bit more about the different types of herpes and how they avoid detection by the human immune system, you may be curious to learn more about how these viruses actually affect the human body from the conventional medicine point of view. It may surprise you to know that in the early stages of being infected, herpes can present itself with cold or flu-like symptoms including decreased appetite, fever, achy muscles, swollen lymph nodes, and general feelings of malaise. Below you will learn more about the specific signs and symptoms of both HSV1 and HSV2. HSV1, oral herpes. Herpes simplex 1, or HSV1, is most commonly called oral herpes because it produces cold sores or blisters around the mouth. These sores are typically small, fluid-filled blisters that can actually be quite painful despite their small size. Herpes cold sores tend to appear on the mouth, lips, cheeks, throat, and chin, though they can also appear on the nose or fingers. Oral herpes can actually be caused by either HSV1 or HSV2, though it is most commonly caused by HSV1. Before the sores actually form, many patients describe prodromal symptoms, that is, early symptoms which precede the characteristic signs of the disease. These symptoms may include itching, tingling, or pain about a day or two before the blisters actually appear. Once the blisters form, they typically break open after a day or two, leaking a clear infectious fluid, after which they crust over and remain that way for up to 24 days. Oral herpes can be transmitted through close contact with an infected person, either skin to skin or through sexual intercourse. An infected person can pass the virus even when no blisters are present, whereby the skin can actually shed the virus without any symptoms being present. The virus typically enters the body through skin breaks, and it is possible for an infected person to spread the infection to other parts of his or her own body simply by touching a sore and then touching another part of the body. HSV2, genital herpes. Herpes simplex 2, or HSV2, is most commonly called genital herpes because it can cause sores to form on the genitals and it is primarily spread through sexual contact. Though HSV2 is most commonly responsible for genital herpes, it is possible to spread HSV1 to the genital area through mouth-to-genital contact or through sexual contact with a person who has an oral herpes infection. Similar to HSV1, genital herpes can be transmitted even when no sores are present. The skin could be shedding the virus at any time, with or without symptoms. During the first week or two after contracting the virus, most patients show no symptoms. However, by the second week the first outbreak typically demonstrates painful sores and flu-like symptoms. Blisters usually appear on the genitals or near the rectum, and then they break open and leak infectious fluid before crusting over, though it may take weeks for the sore to actually go away. In some cases, recurrent outbreaks begin with mild symptoms like tingling or itching in the genital region, which are prodromal symptoms like those mentioned above for HSV1. The formation and location of herpes lesions differs for males versus females. For men, blisters typically form on the shaft of the penis, while for females they often form on the vagina, vulva, and cervix. Both men and women can develop lesions around the anus, and they can affect the urethra as well. Genital herpes in women is usually accompanied by vaginal discharge that can transmit the virus during sexual contact with an uninfected person. Perhaps the most troubling thing about the herpes virus is that it is highly infectious and can be spread even when no symptoms are noticeable. Some people with herpes experience recurrent outbreaks every few weeks, while others only have them a few times per year. Once an outbreak occurs, it can take weeks for the sores to go away, but the virus can still be transmitted after they have healed. People with herpes often feel their lives are controlled by their virus because they think there is no cure for the disease. Click on the link in the video description to learn about a herpes treatment that will change your life forever.